15 phrases the most confident people tell themselves. Number 1. I decide my own value, not anyone else. The value you hold as a human being is natural. It is within you simply because you exist. It has nothing to do with what you look like, how much money you make, your belief system, sexual orientation, or color of your skin. The reason why this is so powerful to internalize, understand, and act in accordance with, is because this belief will fundamentally dictate the quality of your life. If you don't believe you have a high level of self-worth or value, you'll accept people, opportunities, and treatment into your life that are far below what you should be experiencing. You won't have the courage to ask for more, or to reject the subpar treatment, because deep down you don't really believe that you deserve better. Number 2, I am in control of my decisions, and therefore my actions, and therefore my results. This is one that we are usually only willing to accept when we're winning. On a daily basis though, we are generally in control of the decisions that we make. We choose what to wear, how to present ourselves, how to treat the people around us, and sometimes even the mood we're in. We decide this by focusing on certain things rather than others, feeding our mind, body, and soul proper nourishment, and being proactive and productive during the course of the day. Each decision that we make leads to an action, which then influences a result. This phrase is important because without the knowledge that your decisions control your destiny, you'll never stop the game long enough to look around, simply because you don't believe it's your finger on the pause button. Number 3, when I'm overwhelmed, I will zoom out. I've been using this analogy a lot with my private clients lately and I find it to be impactful. It goes like this: imagine that you open up your maps on your phone. You're looking at a destination, and you zoom in as close as you can. That destination is now taking up your entire screen, and you can't see anything else around it because of how hyper-focused you are on it. Many of us do this with our own problems or challenges. We zoom in so far, focus on it so much that it becomes impossible to see anything else going on around it. When this happens, make the conscious decision and effort to zoom out. Pull back, look at everything else going on around you, and see the bigger picture. In doing so, that one particular problem gets smaller and smaller in the grand scheme of things, and you can map out a far more effective approach to solving it than when it was so close to your face. It looked far bigger than it actually was. Number 4. My past doesn't have to be my future. Our past is a huge part of who we are. In fact, it pretty much is who we are. Every experience, thought, lesson, relationship, failure, victory, and moment of life is quite literally what makes up our past. This largely depends on the quality of the past and the place it's brought you to in the present. Do you want more of that, or less? Yes, the past has molded you into who you are today. But you don't have to be a slave to it, a victim of it, a casual bystander or a passenger on the road of life. This is your life, and you're always a driver, never a passenger. Number 5. I am grateful for what, and who, I already have. When life's emotional investments seem to get overwhelming, gratitude tends to be the first expenditure that we cut down on. Sort of like marketing, in reality, we should be doubling down on gratitude. Investing more fully. Focusing on it even more. Take time each day to be intentional and deliberate about the gratitude you feel. Some enjoy journaling, others, immersing themselves in the thoughts and feelings of joy that their current life brings them. Whatever your method, implement it frequently and fully. As the great Jim Rohn once said, Learn to be grateful for all that you have while you pursue all that you want. Number 6. I am always working to improve. If fulfillment is found in progress, then frustration will be found in stagnation. Self-improvement takes many forms. It can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or all of the above. Do you have a commute for work? Listen to audiobooks and podcasts instead of music. Do you take a shower? Do the same thing. How much time do you spend watching Netflix? Replace that time once or twice a week with something more productive. If these examples sound silly, that's the point. I'm trying to illustrate that there is time that you can create on a regular basis to use for your own improvement, and in doing so, you'll feel even more fulfilled and connected to yourself. Number 7. I am not influenced by other people's opinions. Weeks, months, or even years go by in the blink of an eye and we've stayed with the wrong person for the wrong reasons, but we've come too far down this road to turn back now. Or so we think. The point is this: many people make reactive and responsive decisions based on what other people around them think is best. They're not asking themselves the hard but important questions about what they really want, what makes them fulfilled, where they want their life to go, so they never get the answers. Number 8. Fulfillment is even more important than happiness. What is happiness, really? It's a feeling brought to you by release of chemicals in your brain that are sparked by a certain set of circumstances. Similar to dopamine that is released when we have a positive experience. While enjoyable, it is also fleeting and fragile. If your ultimate goal is happiness, you may wake up one morning with absolutely nothing wrong in your life, but it's raining outside, it's dark, dreary, and mucky. As a result, you feel a little down. You've lost energy. You're not happy in the traditional sense of the word. Seek to feel good about yourself when you're by yourself. This is a far stronger and more resilient feeling, because it doesn't shift with the wind like your feeling of happiness might. Happiness is great, of course. But it cannot be the end goal of life. It comes and goes, and that's okay. It's part of the human experience. Enjoy it while it's here, but don't fret when it's not, because you know it will always come back eventually. Number 9. My mistakes do not define me. You've made mistakes. Congratulations. You're a human being. Not only are mistakes a necessary part of life, they can serve as some of our most important learning experiences. By identifying what went wrong, we can better determine how to do better next time. It's important to see mistakes as transient. They are events. We pass through them in time, like a checkpoint in a video game. After that, then, we move forward. Number 10. I am proud of myself and my achievements. Achievements aren't a gift. They're not bestowed upon some and deprived from others. They're earned, worked for, accomplished. That warrants pride, because they're a direct result of who you've worked to become and the effort you've put in. If you don't stop and recognize that, you'll never fully absorb the feeling of accomplishment, and each one will pass by like a light breeze, devoid of meaning or significance. Number 11. I am in control of my responses. We spoke in point number 2 about being in control of your decisions. but there's a big difference between making proactive decisions and having to respond to the challenges and surprises of life. There's a space between a stimulus and a response. In that space is when you decide what you're going to do. The shorter the space, the more impulsive the reaction, which is different than a response. Number 12. People must earn their place in my life. What I am saying, though, is that you must protect your energy, your time, your heart, body and soul, all of the above, because it's infinitely valuable and you can only give it to so many people and places over the course of your life. So, why then, are you accepting shitty treatment? Wasting time arguing over petty things. Spending time at places that you don't want to be, with people you don't even like. Trying so hard to impress people who are too busy thinking about themselves to even notice. Remember point number 1, you have value. Valuable things don't stay valuable if everyone and anyone can access them. Their exclusivity is what maintains the value in the first place. You are not a Corolla, sorry, Toyota. You are a Rolls-Royce, and should value yourself as such. Number 13, nobody is better or worse than I am. Remind yourself that nobody is inherently better than you in order to maintain the true belief that you are just as capable of greatness and just as deserving of happiness and love as anyone else is. Remind yourself that nobody is inherently worse than you in order to prevent your ego from getting too inflated, no matter how successful or adored you become. Number 14, self-care is not selfish. One of the things that holds people back from taking the time that they need and caring for themselves is that they think it'll make them look selfish. The truth resides in one of my favorite sayings: you cannot pour water out of an empty cup. In other words, if you're depleted, worn down, burned out, how can you care for others? How can you show up for the ones you love, just like they tell you on airplanes, if you ever listen to the safety briefing, that you need to put your oxygen mask on before you help the person next to you, so goes for the rest of life as well. Number 15, I will always live a life that is true to who I really am. Some of the most common challenges in one's life arise for one simple reason: they're making decisions that are out of alignment with their true identity. They're not living in accordance with their real values. Sometimes they're not even sure what those things even mean, so of course they can't make decisions that reinforce them. It follows, then, that figuring all of this out is one of the most powerful things that any individual can possibly do. It requires strength, massive mental and emotional strength that, just like physical strength, require training and consistency to build. When you have it, though, when you've built up your sense of internal strength, you'll be equipped to overcome any external forces. And that, my friend, is the most empowering strength of them all.